It has been an incredible journey, and now a new one begins. 3 days to determine the champion of the world for Magic the Gathering in 2017. Welcome to Boston. Welcome to the Crucible of Worlds. It's Rich, it's Maria, it's Luis Scott Vargas here with you at the news desk, and behind us, an array of talent never seen before in the annals of Magic the Gathering. What a weekend we have in store. Maria, what's got you excited? As you can tell, I'm incredibly calm.
Yeah, I'm so excited, Rich. It's just an honor to be here at this tournament, and I'm really excited for Draft. You know I love Limited, and I want to see if these players can make just the perfect version of these tribal decks, if that's the direction they're going.
For sure. Luis, how about you? What gets you going?
I'm really looking forward to seeing what these players have brought for Standard. Ixalan is going to add, a lot of interesting new cards, and how these players use them is going to be awesome.
Now, this is a new and unique format that we have here at the World Championship. So why don't we walk you through exactly what you're going to see over the next 3 days? Because we have 14 rounds of Swiss. That means everyone plays players on the same record. When we get to the top 4, it goes to best 3 out of 5. We want to give everyone the best chance to get the best out of their decks. You'll also see the Team Series Championship. That's 2 groups of 6 players going at it. But we begin this morning with 3 rounds of Ixalan Booster Draft. Once we hit the afternoon, we swap to the 60-card format. That's going to be 4 rounds of Standard Constructed. We thought the structure of Friday was so good, we thought we'd do it all again on Saturday for 7 more rounds. Then on Sunday, it's the warm-up act for the main event. That's the Team Series, over $50,000 going to the 2 top teams. That's Masashi and Genesis. And then the top 4 closing in on a first place prize of $100,000 US to the winner. Just outstanding. And on that one screen, there is more drama, more intrigue, more knowledge, more fun, more cards, more awesome than you can possibly imagine. We cannot wait. So that's what's going on with our schedule and our tournament format, Maria.
But of course, we kick things off with Booster Draft, and our very own Brian David Marshall and Tim Willoughby are down on the floor to check out our feature pod.
Thanks, Maria. This table is stacked. Every table at the World Championship is stacked, but let's walk you around this table, take a look at some of the players here. We're going to start off with Hall of Famer William Huey Jensen, one of the most feared and respected drafters in the history of the game, Tim.
Then we have Martin Mueller, former World Magic Cup champion from Denmark.
Next to him, Sam Pardee, coming off of a Pro Tour top 8 at Hour of Devastation.
And Sam Black, also in that top 8 of Pro Tour Hour of Devastation, and another former World Team champion.
Then we have Hall of Famer Shota Yasuoka, a World Championship finalist, back when this was called the Player Championship.
Then we have another player that was in the finals of the World Championship, Owen Turtenwald, in his Hall of Fame opening year.
Yeah, and then next to him, Javier Dominguez, Grand Prix champion, and the player from Spain with the most pro points in the history of any player from that country.
Finally, we have the player that we're going to be featuring first in our draft here, Martin Jůza, Hall of Fame elect, and he has made the finals of 4 of the last 5 limited GPs that he has played in.
Jeez.
Heading back to you now, Maria, at the news desk.
Thanks so much, BDM and Tim. Well, that is our feature pod, but what about our 2 other pods? Well, guess what? They are stacked. Let's talk about pod number 2, Christian Calcano, Marcel Carvalho, Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa, Hall of Famer Ken Yukihiro, Eric Froelich, another Hall of Famer, Reed Duke, Lee Shitian, and Seth Manfield, 2015 champ. Luis, who do you like in that pod and why?
That's a fair question.
It's a great pod. I would be really taking a look at Marcel Carvalho. He's always in the running for Draft Master. Fantastic limited results. Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa, again, Hall of Famer. He does very well for himself in limited. And Eric Froelich, the other Hall of Famer.
Yeah, plenty to choose from there.
Now, as for Pod 3, if you want an underdog story, Lucas Esperbertu, Pro Tour champion from the past season, he talked about the preview article we wrote on magicthegathering.com and said, yeah, I know I'm an underdog, but I want to prove a lot of people wrong. Well, his pod looks like this. Sebastian Pozzo, the Standard Master, Hall of Famer elect Josh Utter-Layton, Donald Smith is there, Jerry T, Pro Tour champion from this season. Brad Nelson, the best Standard player in the world. Is he the best drafter in the world? We might find out. And then alongside Lucas Esperbertu, you've got Yuya Watanabe, Hall of Famer, and Kelvin Chu of Singapore. Now, Luis, these pods are not all created equal. They are randomized. And if you are a player like Bear 2 or Donald Smith, you might look across the room at Pod 1 and go, William Jensen in round 1, Owen Turtenwald in round 2, Shota Yasuoka in the final. or Sebastian Pozzo in round 1, Lucas Escobar 2 in round 2, Kelvin Chu in the final. You would actually take that pod.
Unquestionably.
So maybe we've got the beginnings of an underdog story coming out of draft. You've got 3 rounds today. Remember, they do it all again tomorrow in the mornings as well.
Well, walking us through our featured draft will be Marshall Sutcliffe and our very own Paul Cheon in the booth. And I have a question for you guys down there. What do you think about the speed of this draft format?
Yeah, you know, that is one of the key questions, Maria, that you have to face anytime you come into a new draft environment. And let's remember, this is very new still. This set's only been out officially for a week in paper here. What about speed of the format, Paul?
I think the speed of this format is quite fast. There are a lot of creatures that kind of reward you for attacking. There's not a lot of blocking happening. And there's also a lot of cheap combat tricks in the format as well.
Oh, we're loving those.
Oh, for sure.
Like we're walking to get a breakfast sandwich, and we're like, skullduggery or vampires?
Yeah,
what do you like?
This format is all about the cheap cards and the cheap interaction. And the most success that I've had in the format is drafting these really, really aggressive decks.
Yeah, same here. And the tribes that lean towards aggressive, or maybe the color pairs that lean towards aggression, seems to be the ones, at least in the early run, that people are favoring. And of course, there's a lot more to cover as far as booster draft goes. We're going to be walking you through the first booster draft, but there's also a lot more going on out in the field. Let's talk to Nate Price, our community manager, see what else is going on.
Thanks, Marshall. Yeah, there's been a whole lot of conversation going on in the community. It's World Championship time, and everybody is talking about this event. Caught a lot of people giving us their best, fantasy Magic Championship teams out there, and beyond all of that, the players themselves have been getting ready for this event and letting us know. We have Sebastian Pozzo, the Argentinian pro, constructed master. His whole regalia is set out. The day has come. It's time to play some Magic. Beyond him, we also had a wonderful conversation last night. Christian Calcano got himself ready as well. Testing's over. His deck is submitted. He's looking forward to battling. And good guy Donald Smith, bro, go to sleep. You can't be tired tomorrow. It's MTG champ time. Beyond just that, I managed to catch a little tweet from Seth Manfield, former world champion, mentioning how he wasn't sure how much sleep he was going to get because today's the world champ. So, Maria, it looks like this is the world championship. It's going to be one hell of an event.
Thanks so much, Nate. I am excited. Rich, what are you looking to see in draft? I just want to know.
I think draft is kind of scary because yesterday we interviewed around about half the field, and we said, what is the best strategy in Ixalan Draft? And although some of them put a different tribe in, every single one said aggro over control. Aggro is the way to go. Now, the last time I looked, Luis, there are not enough 2-drops in that many boosters to support 8 aggressive players. Somebody is going to be in the wrong seat with the wrong deck, playing the wrong role.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to end up with a couple people either with a bad aggro deck with not enough 2-drops, or really forced into trying to adopt a more controlling role.
I have a question about synergy over power in this format. In Hour of Devastation, we were able to do some really crazy things. We had really good mana fixing, that sort of thing. In this format, are you more looking to be really synergistic with your tribe?
Yeah, it's such a tribal format that the real big payoff in Ixalan is identifying the tribe that's open and really sticking to it.
All right, well, there are 24 Draft Masters sitting down behind us, but only one has the title of Draft Master, and that is Martin Jůza. Let's see every pick of every pack live as the journey to the World Championship title begins.
Hello there, welcome back to the booth here at the World Championship. This is where all the electricity is. That's Paul Cheon, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and we're just about ready for the first booster draft of the entire event. No booster draft matches in the history of Magic have had more weighing on them, with $100,000 up top for the first place finisher here. Every single match is going to matter. We are going to kick things off with our draft master. That is, of course, Martin Jůza, who has really, he's had the reputation for a long time, Paul, of being an excellent limited player, but apparently has made the finals of 4 of the last 5 limited GPs he's played.
Really? What? I didn't even know that.
I'm like, what? BDM said, oh, you know this, right? And I was like, I didn't realize
Just casual
that.
facts.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
Yeah, really asserting himself as one of the premier limited players on the planet. And I know that he is partial to aggressive decks. He likes vampires. He likes red-white in this format. He likes Territorial Hammerskull as his favorite. Looks like they're underway here, Paul. Let's see what he's opened up to kick things off.
Yeah, he had Territorial Hammerskull, I believe, as one of the best commons, but
he has it as best common.
Best common.
Yes, he thinks
Wow.
it's the best common in the set. There's Lightning Strike, though, has been pulled to the front, and that goes beautifully in the deck that he likes, the red-white deck.
Sure, yeah. Lightning Strike is definitely the most powerful card in this pack. There's really not a whole lot I would even consider here. The Skymarch Bloodletter he has up at the front as well, which is an excellent card in the Vampire deck, or in any black deck, actually.
I'm a big fan of Wanted Scoundrels, which is also in the pack. That's the 4/3 pirate for just 2 mana. And yeah, it throws a little money around if it dies, but I really do love that card. He took the Lightning Strike there.
I think his hope is somebody plays that on turn 2 and he's got the Lightning Strike.
Oh, that is a blowout. Yeah, this is a really, really nice pickup here for Martin, especially given the way that he likes to draft the format.
Yeah, the perfect start, given that you want to be aggressive in this format. And I see a Fire Cannon Blast, which is probably the card that Martin wants to, it makes him the most flexible here. He can just start out with 2 red cards here. He can move into red-white or possibly even blue-red or black-red. Actually, I was kind of pointing this out earlier when we were talking. Red is actually the only color that you can pair with any other color in the format and actually be in a tribe still.
That's right. Yeah, he's got a Thundering Spine back there, which, at first glance looks quite strong. 7 mana is expensive, but it's a 5/5. It pumps all your dinosaurs. You can dump 6 mana into it to make dinosaurs. But its format has proven to be a little too quick for cards like that. And, when you've got a Fire Cannon Blast right after.
Oh yeah, when I first started drafting this set, all I wanted to do was try and Dirtle, and I paid the price. I lost a lot of matches trying to draft Dino Ramp.
Third pick,
but this is
the Mighty.
Yeah, that is the perfect card for a Dino Ramp deck. This card has been excellent. A 2-mana 1/1 that taps for any color, and if you're drafting a dinosaur deck, this is just a 2-mana 3/3. It is the perfect card, and I know Martin's looking at this and he's like, oh man, do I want to trap myself? I really want to be red-white. Like, green is a little bit slower, but Drover is so incredibly powerful here. I think he's just going with the best card.
It's just too strong.
Yeah.
He just has to take it here because of the raw power level of Drover the Mighty. The thing that I think when I first saw it, I thought, well, I'm going to have to play a bunch of expensive dinosaurs, but it turns out there's a lot of medium to cheap dinosaurs that you can play alongside it as well.
Yeah, the red-white archetype that Martin was talking about earlier is actually just an aggressive red-white dinosaur deck. You have Raptor Companion at 2 mana. You have Territorial Hammerskull, which is also a dinosaur at 3 mana. So,
and then the Thrasher Raptors here.
Right, and actually I believe red-white has the most common dinosaur payoffs as well. In Telenali's Knight, Thrasher Raptors, and the Pterodon Knight.
Yeah. This is interesting. He has a Direfleet captain pulled to the front. And he's going to take it here. So we're going to see Martin Jůza jockey for position a bit. And this is really, really important in this format. Because if you can find your lane, if you can find the tribe you're supposed to be in for your seat and do it early, you can stand a chance of having a really great deck. If you miss that, you could be in big trouble.
Yeah, he's trying his best just to be as flexible as possible. I think he took that Drover the Mighty just because it was by far and away the most powerful card in the pack. But I think if he, wants to actually choose the ideal deck, he'd rather be somewhere else. And now he's kind of looking at the Deadeye Tormentor versus the Sure Strike. He did take the captain earlier, so it looks like he might be trying to settle into a red-black aggressive pirate deck.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. It's a tough spot there because the Sure Strike is so much weaker than the Deadeye Tormentor, but he would love to solidify himself in red if possible, though that might not be the case. Look at this pack, Paul. There's no red cards to speak of.
Yeah, no red cards, and I think the best card in the pack is likely the Water Trap Weaver. But there's also the Mark of the Vampire that he has up in front. And look at this. He even has a Hijack that he's considering. That's a really early time to take a Hijack. But if you just want to stay aggressive, maybe that's the card you take.
Wow, he took the Hijack. I am shocked at that. Martin trying to cling to red, but it is not there for him.
Wow. That is aggressive.
The best red card here, Brazen Buccaneers, unless he's a big Wily Goblin fan.
Yeah, Wily Goblin, you need to
be red.
Very heavy red, like 10 mountains to actually, be happy with putting that in your deck. I would guess that he's likely just going to go for the Brazen Buccaneers here.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but it is a pirate. There are a lot of pirate synergies in, the Grixis colors. He's black and red. Cards like Pirate's Cutlass, March Underground being the payoff cards.
No red cards in the pack.
Wow.
And I said that before with the Hijack because I thought, well, he doesn't want to take that. But Martin wanted to stay red, and now he's taking Cobbled Wings out of the pack. He
cobbled together some victories here.
Yeah, the tribe that seems most open at the moment is Merfolk. there was a Jade Guardian in the pack
And there was a Water Trap Weaver as well.
prior to the Water Trap Weaver
Right.
one, exactly.
But that is just so far away from all the cards that he's taken. You know, he's
Yep.
basically taken red, black, and a Drover of the Mighty. So it's really hard for him to do that. Now he's taking Desperate Castaways, but not a whole lot of artifacts yet. But you know, if you are in the Grixis colors, there's a lot of ways to make treasures. And one of the premier commons in this set for the Pirate archetype is Pirate's Cutlass, which can also turn on the Desperate Castaways.
Yeah, he's had one shot at a Pirate's Cutlass. He did not take it. That was very early in pack 1 here. But
a
he
Dino.
will have 2 more packs left over. And he may be able to find one there. Spike-tailed Ceratop's really medium card, not a sought-after card here.
Blue seems like it's a little bit open. That is a pretty late run aground.
Agreed,
Which is,
yeah.
you know, a fine card in this format. And it looks like he might be shifting here into potentially going into red-green.
I mean, the cards just aren't there for him. And frankly, red isn't there, and green kind of isn't there either. The Drover, of course, being a big signal. I'll take him.
Big Bronson.
Yeah,
Big
yeah, he took him.
Bronson. Oh, and that's a last pick Crushing Canopy. Oftentimes you kind of try to send signals when you're drafting, and when you see a last pick sideboard card, that kind of tells you that the person passing to you is very unlikely to be in green.
Yeah, the Drover the Mighty, of course, also the biggest, you know, that's really
Right.
the most standout card from any of the packs that he's gotten. But look at his red. It has not come together for him at all.
Yeah, but looking at the packs, we did see kind of a smattering of blue cards, but I think just the power level of the packs dropped very quickly after the first few packs. So when you looked at the packs, you're like, oh, wait, there's no good red or black cards. Well, there weren't really a whole lot of great cards in other colors as well.
Yeah, the best were the green and the blue that we saw.
Right. So Martin does have to make a decision here. You know, he picked up some green cards late, so I think he's kind of waffling between either being red-black Pirates or green-red Dinosaurs. And, you know, just kind of hoping that the next pack really helps guide him here.
Yeah, and, you know, the way it should go here is that he should get the best red of the draft now. He not only was cutting it voraciously, he
Right.
wasn't getting that much anyway.
He took a hijack 5th pick.
Right, there's
there
no
were no
way
red cards
that
he
anybody
had.
to his left is in red at this point.
Right.
So he should get hooked up here, and that might be enough for Martin to, you know, to actually play red in the draft. But if for some reason not that many red cards get opened here, he is going to have to abandon ship and move into something else.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed just from looking at Martin's pack was not a whole lot of vampires. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that either William Jensen or Martin Mueller, the two people that are passing to him, are very likely to be in that tribe.
Yeah. I did see one Anointed Deacon in the middle high part of the pack, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. You know, there was no Sky March Bloodletters in the later middle part of the pack, so.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the vampire archetype.
I am too,
Yeah.
yeah. I've had the most success with it. Oh, false start there. Oh, he just dropped a card. All right.
Fire Cannon Blast, pretty nice card. And there's also a Ranging Raptors. Shapers of Nature, you know, one of the best uncommons in the set, especially if you are the Merfolk deck, but I think he's a little far away from that. So I think he's basically considering taking either the Ranging Raptors or the Fire Cannon Blast. I think he wants to stay red, you know, given that he's cut off the red pack 1 and he's got 2 great removal spells. I think he's probably going to opt to take the Fire Cannon Blast here.
Yeah, he does so. That's his 3rd red removal spell, and he's really hoping to get a few more here and then make the decision on whether he's green or black as the cards dictate. This is a tough position, though, for Jůza because, you know, sticking to red that hard means that he's at the mercy of this pack, and he can't expect much out of the last pack. And look at this, no red cards.
Wow. There's just not a whole lot in general. The best card of the pack, his favorite card, but he sells like almost 0 white cards in the first pack. He might have to just take an Ixalan's Keeper, which is really, really disappointing as a second pick, given, you know, the power level of a lot of the other cards in this pack.
Yeah, he has 2 mediocre 2-drops to choose from here.
But then I think his best plan is
Hoarder too.
Oh, he does have the Hoarder as well.
Yep.
This is a big pick.
Yeah,
this is a big pick.
What direction do you want to go, Martin? Do you want to be red-green, or do you want to be black-red?
I think the Direfleet Hoarder is a better card, but I think just given how the first pack went, I would guess that green was a little bit more open
I
than
agree.
black.
The Drover came pretty late for a Drover.
He's seeing some premium white cards now. There's a Steadfast Armasaur in that pack, but I think he's probably just going to go ahead and take this Tishana's Wayfinder. Very solid green common. No great dinosaurs here. There's a Headstrong Brute, but he's red-green, so, you know, I mean, at 3 mana, 3/3 still a reasonable rate. can't block is a pretty big drawback, but it's likely not going to have Menace all that often.
Right, and you know, Martin uses a dreamer, so he says, well, this Wayfinder is going to be a 3/3 anyway, right?
Yeah, of course.
Is that how this
Or a
works?
land if he really needs a land.
There you go, yeah, depending on what he
Yeah,
wants.
it's what you want, right?
Exactly.
Choose your own adventure.
He does take the Tishana's Wayfinder. So Martin settling into green-red now in the early part of pack number 2. There's a Thrash of Raptors and another Ixalan's Keeper.
Ooh. So he's got a choice here.
Well, there's a
Snapping
Sailback.
Sailback.
Yeah, and I think that would be the choice.
Right.
Though it is interesting, he has pulled the Thrash of Raptors to the front. He may value the cheaper card a little bit more. You know, one of Martin's sort of, you know, one of his commandments of Limited, right, is
Take the cheaper card?
when in doubt, take the cheaper card. I'm not kidding. He lives by that mantra, and he did it here too. He took the Thrash of Raptors. You know, if he figures that these two cards are close in power level, take the cheaper one.
You know, I think that's probably why he wins a lot more in Limited than I do, because I always opt for the sweeter card.
Ooh, Tillinolli's Knight. This is a
Perfect.
great pickup for
Yeah,
Martin.
definitely.
And it's also the only card in the pack in his colors.
Yeah, he is
But-
not wheeling a card in this pack.
No, but it was a great pickup. Honestly,
For sure.
Tillinolli's Knight is exactly the type of card that the green-red deck wants the most of.
Yeah, and you know, we were kind of talking about how this format is aggressive. This is one of those cards, right? This is not a great blocker, it's just a 2-mana 2/2. But if you are the aggressive red-white or red-green dinosaur deck, 2-mana 3/3, you're getting excellent right there.
Man, Martin must
Oh, is that a Ranging Raptors? I thought no, it's a Blossom Dryad.
Blossom Dryad, yep.
It's a lot less exciting.
It is, but it's still a fine pickup for his deck if he wants it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the only consideration here. There is a River Herald's Boon, which is, I think, one of the best cards if you are the blue-green Merfolk deck. But as is in red-green, you're not really going to want it.
I've heard mixed reviews on Rummaging Goblin, by the way. Some people think that because the format doesn't have that many places to put your mana late in the game, it can be a good way to get rid of excess lands.
Commune with Dinosaurs here.
Hey, that's
the
not
pack.
too bad. I think it's better than the second Brazen Buccaneers.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I think that's what I would go for. Helps fix your mana. You know, if you end up with 8 to 9 dinosaurs, you're pretty likely to hit a dinosaur when you cast it.
But yeah, some people don't like the Goblin, the
Yeah.
Rummaging Goblin, because they just say it's too slow. It doesn't affect the board.
Right. I think in a slower format, the Rummaging Goblin would be nice, but in this format, you just can't really afford to kind of take a turn off and play a 3-mana 1/1 a lot of the time, given that one of the best archetypes, some of the best archetypes in the format are, you know, red-white aggro, blue-green, Merfolk, that's just trying to get you with counters and evasion. Like, it's really rough. You need to play a card that actually impacts the board.
Crash the Ramparts was a pickup, fine.
Yeah, he's got to be happy. He doesn't actually have a lot of combat tricks.
There's another Commune.
And he's got to be really happy with this late Commune with Dinosaurs as well. You know, it looks like he was kind of lacking in playable, so anytime you table a card that you know is going to go into your deck, you have to be really happy about that.
Yeah, and this is a hostile draft table, too. I mean, not only are the players all excellent, Martin is really having to scrap to get to where he wants to get. There's a growing rights of Itlamok, which is proven a little clunky for the format.
A little slow, and Dual Shot is an excellent sideboard card in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. The problem with growing rights is that you just have to take an entire turn off to cast it, and it doesn't affect the board in any meaningful way. That is a tough sell in a format where people are trying to just smash you.
Another note on the Dual Shot is there's just a lot of good common creatures that have 1 toughness in the format. So there are even situations where you can get 2 cards. I mean, you have Raptor Companion, you have Shaper's Apprentice, just a lot of cards that the Dual Shot can actually hit. I don't think the Goring Ceratops Dream is happening.
No, he's just going to take... Oh, a card he's not going to play.
Well, this was the pack that had all blue and black cards after he
Yeah.
took the
He says here, have a rare. Enjoy it.
Okay.
And a Storm Sculpture goes last. All right, well, the good news for Martin is that he solidified himself in an archetype here. He is red-green with some dinosaur synergies. The tough news for him is that this table has not been kind to him. It's not like he's just getting hooked up. He is having to scrap for every single playable he can get, and it's not getting better in the third pack. We do not anticipate him seeing much red past, say, the third pick of the draft or something. It looks like it was being cut fairly hard. Now, the Ray of Sunlight, though, is green. Yeah, you know, it did seem open-ish coming to him, and there's a decent chance that he gets some good green stuff in this third pack.
Taking a look at his deck, you know, it might not be the most powerful deck, but he's got a good mana curve, he's got some removal, and he picked up a late combat trick. So, you know, I think Martin's got to be pretty happy with how the draft is going in the sense that, like, he's kind of doing the best that he can. And I do like the way that he's navigated this draft so far.
Yeah, the way I view it is like the train was rolling along, and then it kind of went around a turn and got up on its side, you know, like it was. But now it's back down again and trucking forward, and I think he's moving right along. So what do we want here? Reggie?
Oh, Reggie. Big Reggie. Of course we want Big Reggie.
Okay, all right. I mean, we can dream,
Alpha.
right? Yeah.
That is the dream here. That is the best possible card. There it is.
Let's see if he can get
5 mana 4/4. Your dinosaurs have haste. When it enters a battlefield, you get a 3/3 dinosaur with trample. I mean, if there's one time to you know, open the best possible card for your deck, it's got to be the World Championships, right?
Return your cards to a single.
I can't think of a better time except for maybe a coverage draft tonight.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if I'm drafting against you and I really want to win, then maybe that's slightly more important than trying to win $100,000. But
debatable. All right, let's
Close.
see if Martin Jůza can find a big bomb for his deck. He could certainly use the power bump. He doesn't have much in the way of rares here for his deck, if any.
We're going to reveal the double.
do you think that's what he's hoping to open, or do you think he'll settle for a Savage Stomp?
No, I think he's Registrar Alpha or bust at this
Oh, he's just like, no, Reggie, this is over.
Please return your double.
All right, let's see if he can do it.
We will now begin the draft. You have 40 seconds.
Here we go.
To pick up your pack.
Ooh,
Well, he did pick up
okay.
Otepec Huntmaster, which is a really nice pickup. What else is there?
There's also a Rampaging Ferocidon, which is quite strong on rate. It's a 3 mana 3/3 menace. Players can't gain life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, Ferocidon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. The life gain clause is actually relevant, given that Vampires has a lot of lifelink creatures in the deck. There's also the Otepec Huntmaster, which I've been pretty impressed with.
Same.
But I think you're just going for just the creature on rate. It's
We
so
wanted
strong.
an on-color rare dinosaur. We didn't quite get the one we wanted, but Rampaging Ferocidon is very solid and a good pickup for Martin. So he'll feel good. It also fits his strategy quite well.
Yeah, and also if nobody else is actually in dinosaurs, there is a reasonable chance that the Otepec Huntmaster could table.
Totally. It is a card that you only want in very specific decks.
Yeah. All right, there's a Tishana's Wayfinder,
Oh,
and
no.
that is the only card for him.
Oh, no. This pack was a bust. Also, we'll note no red cards.
Yeah, but I mean, just kind of look at the pack. There's also not that much in terms of power that he's passing. I guess, no, never mind. Take that back. There is the Fathom Fleet Captain, which is fantastic in Pirates.
Yep.
But, you know, he's pretty committed to red-green at this point. I imagine he's likely going to go with the Tishana's Wayfinder here.
Yeah. The ship that the Fathom Fleet Captain on has sailed, I think. So he's going to have to just take the Tishana's Wayfinder and kind of shrug his shoulders, you know, like, well, I got a playable, it's fine. Card's good.
I'm very happy. I mean, Tishana's Wayfinder is a very solid card. I've had worse second picks.
30 seconds to pick up your pack.
Oh, that's another one. Oh, okay. Martin's likely looking for some interaction, so he might be looking at this Pounce.
Yeah, the Pounce is actually pretty decent in his deck, as well as he does have a few reasonably sized dinosaurs, though for the most part, Pounce will play you know, closer to a Lightning Strike style spell, or even a Shock, you know, something. It's not going to be killing anything huge very often in his deck, so that will reduce its value to him a bit.
I should think about Martin's deck. He has a lot of 2-drops and 3-drops that are basically 2/2s. So the Pounce really not going to get a whole lot of targets unless this Tishana's Wayfinder consistently hits a spell. So I think Martin basically just opted for the 3-mana creature here instead of the Pounce. If his deck was chock full of cards like Grazing Whiptails, that would be more of an option. But that's a pretty late Pious Interdiction.
It is. I wonder if he feels like he can even stretch out a little bit.
He does have 2 Commune with Dinosaurs and a Drover of the Mighty, but I think he's likely just going to stay the course here and take a Ravenous Daggertooth.
Another mediocre card for him. You know, it's a fine 3-drop. Again, a lot of the cards that we've been describing for Martin's deck or fit this description. They're like, you know, they're
Medium.
C's, right?
Yeah,
C plus. You know, they're fine cards. You know, you put them in your deck, you play them. You'll play them throughout the course of the format. But, you know, remember when he got the Drover of the Mighty?
Right.
That's the kind of card that you're like, bang!
Yeah, you're seeing some late white cards here. There's a Bellowing Aegisaur. You saw the Pious Interdiction. And in the last pack, you also saw Daring Saboteur and a Water Trap Weaver. So blue was definitely open.
This is an interesting one for Martin as well. He could take another creature with the Ixalan's Keeper, but, you know, Sure Strike actually looks pretty good to me here because he does not have that much in the way of combat tricks or interaction.
Yeah, he actually has a ton of creatures in his deck already.
Yeah.
Not a lot of tricks, so Sure Strike could have been a consideration, but it looks like Martin just opting for more 2-mana creatures.
Another Tishana's Wayfinder.
That's number 4,
And
I
a
believe.
Pounce as well, so a similar decision that he had to a few picks ago.
Yeah. Again, all he's taking are a bunch of 2/2s, and that's a late chart, of course. Big fan of that card.
5 seconds.
This is going to be really interesting. If he takes the Wayfinder,
Draft.
the top of his library is going to dictate a lot about how this draft goes. Because if those are three threes for 3, you're in business. If they're not, you know, they don't do a whole lot.
Yeah, he's really in the market for some combat tricks. Wow, that is another late Water Trap Weaver.
Yeah.
Whoever is in blue,
Is
you know,
getting
if
hooked up.
Martin's passing to the drafter who's blue, that person's getting completely hooked up here.
5
Which,
seconds.
by the way, let's see here. So sitting next to Martin is Sam Pardee and William Jensen.
Lay out 7
And
cards
Martin is
on your
passing
back.
to Javier Dominguez.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Javier Dominguez and William Jensen.
Right.
I read that wrong.
You have 15 seconds. to
So-
attack.
We shall see. You soft in there?
Wow, this is actually a great pack.
It
Just like, look at all the
kind of
playables
is.
in this pack.
It really is.
And now Martin has to make the choice. He's got a ton of 2-drops. I might actually just consider taking Crash to Ramparts here, just because you do need some tricks, but Martin's
It's
just
all about those creatures.
He's got to take all the creatures. To be fair, he is playing 2 copies of Commune with Dinosaurs, so he might want a good top-end dinosaur in his deck just to find.
Well, there's that pounce.
5 seconds.
Suppose you just
Wow,
take
that's
it
a really
here.
big pounce.
I mean, he knows it's not optimized in his deck, but having access to one of them can be just fine.
Yeah, and he's already got a Spiketail Ceratops, and it's not like you're too happy playing with too many copies of that card.
10 seconds.
Yeah, the 5-mana slot's just so competitive. The Ceratops is a fine Magic card. It's up against a lot
Oh
of
no.
other things.
He's looking at that Dire Fleet Captain and going,
Maybe
could I have been
should've.
red-black?
Draft. Lay out the cards to your left. You have 5 seconds to pick up your pack.
This last pack did not go that well for Martin, I'm going to say.
You know, I don't think any of the packs went super great.
Right.
I mean, I think that he's drafted his seat and he's had a tough time finding his spot. It went somewhat predictably, right? You know, after we saw the first pack go by. But Martin had some incredibly tough decisions about where he should go. And when you look at the cards that he's got for his seat, he might have been slightly better off if he had gone for black-red. But even then, I think that's questionable. I don't even know if he would have been that much better off. And if he would have, you know, there wasn't any strong signal for him to cling to there.
I think red was actually the color that was very cut off.
Absolutely.
And he might have been better off potentially going into Merfolk, because we did see a ton of great late blue cards out of
you know, the one
pack 1
pick
and
that
3.
jumps out to me, Paul, was the Hijack. You know, that not that was an important pick for his final deck, just the fact that Martin was like, no, I am still going to try to be red here
Right.
and try to make sure I stay in the lane that I've carved out for myself with my 2 good removal spells. You know, that was an important pick because it showed a lot of Martin's mentality about what he was doing, and it didn't work out, right? I mean, let's just be honest. That third pack did not have a whole lot coming to him as far as red goes, and, you know, he did get lucky and get that Rampaging Ferocidon, which is a solid card.
Yeah,
you know,
it's the
good
card he opened, though. And then outside of that, he saw almost no red cards in that last pack. So, kind of rough.
It's kind of tough. Now, I would not say that this is a terrible deck. I think that, you know, in the hands of somebody like Martin, you know, he loves these type of decks, these low-to-the-ground creature-based decks, and he can certainly make it work, but he would be hoping it went a little bit better for him there.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to be watching Draft, but first, these messages.